Good morning. I saw this article and I wanted to bring it to you. I wanted to go over some stuff that is somewhat timely. This is October of 2023, and the student loan repayments have begun this month, and I think it's going to dramatically impact the economy in a negative way, but let's go through it. So here's the first article I saw. It says, student loan bills resume for 40 million Americans, how it could shake the economy. Well, that sounds ominous, right? Now, with me being in real estate, I'm kind of more concerned on the real estate side than anywhere else. But, I mean, the larger economy does matter, right? So I was going through this article, and the first thing that I saw is it says the pandemic-era pause on federal student loan payments ends Sunday, leaving as many as 40 million Americans on the hook for a new monthly bill that they haven't needed to make in more than 3 years. So for the last 3 years, no one's had to pay their student loans. Economists caution that the impact on households and the economy remains largely uncertain, as there's little precedent for borrowers getting such a long break from their loan bills. But as the Biden administration ramps up repayment of the more than $1.7 trillion in federal student loan debt, retailers and lenders are bracing for a hit. So, look, I'm not just on the record. I feel bad that people have to pay back student loans, and I feel like student loans have been predatory for a long time. I think that the cost of higher education is out of control and ridiculous. And I don't wish that anybody be in debt from school. I think that they should be able to pay for it out of their earnings. But that is a concept similar to housing that has gone away. I mean, most schools you're not going to be able to, pay your way through in cash. I mean, it's just the way things have become, and they're not better. That's not a better thing. We always think about the United States getting better at this and that. It's not better that we have saddled these students with all this debt. It's not better that we have to have young couples and even middle-aged people can't afford a house. This is not a good thing. This is not something positive. It says financial services firm Jefferies is warning that there could be a significant risk to consumer spending ahead because the resumption of student loan payments. It recently surveyed about 600 consumers with student debt, finding that half their borrowers are very concerned about meeting all of their expenses. Around 70% of borrowers plan to postpone big-ticket purchases come October. Meanwhile, many people with student loan debt plan to cut back on their spending on clothing, travel, and food. Now, look, the typical response is, oh, too bad you can't afford a new thing at Lululemon, right? Or you can't afford to go eat it. Can't go to Florida for a spring break. It's going to be terrible. But it's not the right response. Also, the idea that if we've gone through the last couple of years here with the lowest interest rates and a favorable housing market to be able to afford something, at least until it got out of hand, and these people are saying that they're going to postpone a large purchase. Well, probably one of the bigger purchases in your life is that of a home, a mortgage. So this could be an issue. I mean, we talk about buyer demand all the time. Well, buyer demand will shrink quite quickly when people are stuck making a monthly payment that they haven't had to make for the last 3 years. It says Scott Mushkin, founder and CEO of R5 Capital, a consumer research consulting firm, estimates that starting in October, around $7 billion to $8 billion per month will be reallocated to student loan payments. Which, when we're talking about trillions of dollars due, it doesn't seem like much, $7 billion to $8 billion per month. And then we have this, in quote, says the payment shocks will be significant. The payment shocks will be significant for borrowers and lenders, says Lidge Pagel, or Pagel, we'll go with whatever, Senior Vice President and Head of TransUnion's consumer lending business. Many student loan borrowers have taken on additional debt during the payment pause, which I believe that. I believe that many, many young people took on a new home purchase during this 3-year situation, this 3-year moratorium on, and I think that a lot of people used the COVID money that they got, in addition to not having to pay their loans, to go crazy in the economy. Now, I'm not looking down on these people. Okay, I'm just saying I think it's a very high likelihood that this is going on. And it says Nearly a third of people with student debt put a balance on a new credit card over the last 3 years, if it found. Around 15% took out a personal loan. These additional credit products mean additional monthly payments, which may pose added challenges. The typical student loan bill is around $350 a month, but at least 10% of borrowers have a payment of over $700 a month. Now, look, if you're a young person and you have a student loan payment of over $700 a month, and you've bought a used or new car, and your car payment's over $1,000 a month, and you're looking for shelter, home, and your combined rent or home mortgage is $1,500 to $2,000 a month or more, I mean, you've got to be making an awful lot of money coming out of college. And I just don't see this I don't think this is sustainable at all. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau has also found that student loan borrowers have fallen deeper into debt during the pandemic, with more than a half of the borrowers holding higher monthly debt-related expenses than they did before the pause on bills began March of 2020. Now, to me, that is absolutely a perfect storm. You didn't even have to pay for the last 3 years, and yet you got behind. More than 1 in 13 borrowers are currently behind on other payment obligations. These borrowers might be unable to make payments on their student loans if they are already missing payments on their credit cards or auto loans. Well, what if they've got a mortgage? So I looked at this article here. This came out of Housing Wire. Now, Mark Zandi and I don't get along, just so you know. He's an analysis, or he provides analysis for, I think it's Moody's, but anyway, it says federal loan payments resuming on October 1st will negatively affect consumer loan asset quality, including credit card, auto, and to a lesser extent, residential mortgages. However, the overall effect will be modest, according to Moody's analytics report. Now, I don't think that's going to be modest. I think it is going to rattle the housing market. In total, 24 million borrowers whose payments were suspended since the onset of the COVID pandemic will owe an average of $275 per month when federal student loan payments resume, per Moody's Analytics estimates. Now, look, we know that some people do have $300 a month payments coming due. Other people have over $700 a month. As the interest burden on student debt increases, we expect the additional financial obligation will mostly strain borrowers' ability to pay. That is not good, right? When you have to choose what you're going to be able to pay on your bills every month. So it's a very, being a small business owner and knowing the life that I have to live and knowing what it's like when you do have to kind of prioritize what you're going to spend your money on per month, or what bills you're going to pay, it's not a good feeling. It drags on you tremendously. Although student loans are non-dischargeable in bankruptcy, their priority in a consumer's debt repayment hierarchy is low relative to the other major consumer debt classes. So it says, and let's continue with this. It says, borrowers are much more likely to prioritize servicing mortgage or auto loans and even credit cards, since they stand to lose their house or car or access to credit or credit card rewards if they fall behind on such consumer loans. The argument here is that they don't care. This is the argument. People don't care about paying their student loans back. They would much rather spend it on their house or on a car payment or on their credit cards, so they will, it's not a big deal. That is their hypothesis. I think they're absolutely wrong. From my time as a property manager, I noticed that people who could pay the rent always did. The people that couldn't pay the rent because they literally didn't have the money. It's not like they went out of their way to say, oh, I'm not going to pay the rent this month. It's like my job ended, or I've got an unexpected medical expense or something, where if I had the money, I definitely would pay you, but I don't have the money. For mortgage debt, the share of performing loans that were 30 or more days delinquent went from less than 2% in Q3 2021 to about 2.5% in Q2 2023. Credit card delinquencies jumped from 4% to about 7% in the same period. Meanwhile, auto loans rose from about 5 to 7%. Now, look, I don't predict a crash in the housing market. I expect stagnation in the housing market for many, many years. Now, I mean, that's not a positive thing. I don't think. They've made it too expensive to live, and I think that's terrible. I have very much compassion for those who are going to get stuck in this endless debt loop cycle. I think it's absolutely ridiculous. I'm frightened by what you're doing to the younger population by loading them with debt before they even get to be old enough to know what debt is. I mean, it's ridiculous. Do I have a solution for this? No, I don't. I mean, housing has gotten really, really expensive. So with that, I do think it will cause some issues in the housing market. I do think people generally want to pay all their bills and all their debts. And I think that when you add the student loan repayments into an already levered market, let's just take one example. Let's say a 22-year-old saw on TikTok that you can be a millionaire landlord overnight as long as you buy short-term rentals, Airbnbs. And we know that the cost has been going up dramatically and the payments but say they got in late. So and then, on TikTok, then all you have to do is keep buying units, right? You just keep buying houses, short-term rentals, and things are going to be great. Well, so say you bought one or you bought two, okay? And now all of a sudden the short-term rentals, the economy itself is starting to show signs of weakness. People are spending less on vacations. And so all of a sudden your Airbnb isn't profitable. You haven't had to ever pay student loans since you got out of school. You already have a car payment. I mean, it's not hard to see where this could be going. Not good. I'm not happy for these people. I feel bad, but anyway, that's what I have for you today. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. I'll catch you on the next one.